Good afternoon and welcome to the 5th annual ASUio. We're coming to you live from the gorgeous ASU Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona, where I'm a little nervous to say for some of you, it is a beautiful 71 degrees and sunny. We wish you could be here with us today, but coming to us from all around the world, I would like to welcome our ASUio competing teams, our judges, our very generous sponsors, all of those mentors, parents, partners, and supporters of our entrepreneurs, and everyone who was a part of making today possible. My name is Sydney Peck, and I'm here joined by my incredible panelists, Tristan and Mike, maybe a little wave, and over the magical airwaves, Cody Friesen. You're going to witness today a pretty incredible feat of technology, I would say, pulling together a lot of live streams, videos, some cool interactions from all around the world. And here's how the day is going to go. We're going to learn a little bit about the history of the I.O. and its home here at ASU. We're going to get to hear all about maybe why we're all here, the prizes, the money, and how we're going to deliver that today. You'll get to hear a really interesting and exciting keynote interview, cool compilation, and an interview between two founders. Then, of course, we will announce each of the prize winners. And finally, at the end, you will have the opportunity to join breakout rooms and actually interact with all of the competing teams. So to get started, I'm going to kick it over to Cody Friesen to tell us a little bit about the history of the ASUio.
Thanks, Sydney. Welcome, everybody, to the ASUio. As Sydney said, this is the 5th year that we're running this competition. And even in this strange alternative universe of a year that we've had, we're giving away $340,000 in cash prizes in addition to in-kind prizes this year. So thanks to all of our sponsors that have made that possible. And a special thanks to our very own Eric Leahy, without whom we wouldn't be able to do any of this, because he's the one that speaks to all of the entrepreneur competitors, the various sponsors, and really pulled this whole show together. So thank you to Eric. And maybe even though we've had this really strange year, innovation doesn't stop, right? And maybe innovation probably even accelerates a bit in the face of sort of macro adversity. So this entire competition exists, right, to elevate student entrepreneurs from around the country, to elevate people focused on hard problems with largely hardware solutions, people focused on wicked problems with solutions that lift humanity up, or the environment up, or both. And people focused on problems, the solutions to which allow others up Maslow's hierarchy. And this is just the beginning. The ASUio will become the largest student innovator entrepreneurial competition in the US. It'll become the best known entrepreneurial competition in the US, and it'll become the most respected. And that is for our competitors, the young people that you'll all get to meet that are absolutely incredibly inspiring, and of course for the problems that they solve. So why hold this competition at ASU? It's the largest university in the country. It has the largest engineering school in the country, but also probably remarkably the most nimble on both of those levels, thanks to our president, Michael Crow, and our dean, Kyle Squires. The dean of the Ira A. Fulton School of Engineering, Kyle Squires, has reshaped the Fulton Schools of Engineering, refined the Fulton Schools of Engineering, and redefined what an engineering school can truly be. And it's what makes me so proud to be a part of this university and the Fulton Schools of Engineering. So it's really the best place in the country to have a competition focused on student innovation. Okay, let's go.
There are a lot of needs that we're serving among our students. There are a lot of ways that we're advancing within our program. Student entrepreneurship is vital. It's at the core of a lot of what we do now. In the Fulton schools, we emphasize the Fulton difference. That's all of the things that we offer for our students outside the classroom to grow as engineers, computer scientists, and technologists. It can be undergraduate research, it can be a teaching assistant. There's a lot of ways that you can grow. Entrepreneurship is one of those ways. This teaches you how to think creatively, how to generate value, how to understand the power of your idea, how to understand the opportunity. We're there to provide that support. So you know what's also great about that? Having a chance to compete, having a chance to go against your peers, to pitch your ideas and find out, hey, might you break through in that competition to the next level? So we're very happy to see everybody here today. We also think that as part of these efforts moving forward, when we started this competition, we wanted to be the premier student entrepreneurship competition in the Southwest. We've hit that, we've made it. Now it's the West, now it's going national, and increasingly, as engineering goes, becoming a global power, a global force, attracting students from around the world, connecting our faculty and our programs around the world. That's what matters moving forward. This competition, again, embodies that. We're very proud to have engagement from our students overseas in this particular student entrepreneurship competition. We welcome your teams, we welcome your ideas, and we're looking forward to seeing how that goes today. As I wrap up my remarks today, I also want to thank our university partners, also part of this competition, and the mentors. You have been absolutely vital to these students and their group success. So again, thanks to all our partners. Thanks for getting us to this point. We're really looking forward to seeing how the competition goes today. And with that, back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Dean Squires, and thank you to ASU. So, Mike, Tristan, what are you guys excited about today?
I'm absolutely excited for the outstanding experience that we'll hear from. We have people just at the beginning of the journeys, but we have people with plenty of stories to tell. So we're going to learn a lot, and I'm just kind of curious to learn more. What about you, Tristan?
I'm excited to feel hopeful after a year that's been really hard and really heavy. We have 31 groups of entrepreneurs that are changing the way I think about 2021, think about the world. They're doing good, and just because I want to, right? Because I want to see the world be a better place, and I'm excited about that.
That's cool.
Tristan, would you like to tell us a little bit about the prizes today?
I would love to. So I don't know if you guys know this, but there's like a $300,000 worth of prizes today. That's a lot of money, and that's a lot of help that these startups could use. So we're talking about $100 in cold, hard cash, maybe not cold, hard, an IoT prize sponsored by Avnet, $100,000 cash, climate change prize sponsored by Breakthrough Energy, closely related, to somebody named Bill Gates. We've got $25,000 cash, technology for social equity prize, sponsored by Source Global. We've heard from them, and we'll be hearing from them all day. $25,000 cash, Transform Your Thinking prize, sponsored by On Semiconductors. $25,000 cash and $25,000 in in-kind design services, hardware engineering prize, sponsored by ASU eSeed and SilSync. $25,000 cash and $10,000 in AWS credits, and Amazon Alexa prize sponsored by Amazon Alexa. I hope your houses right now aren't dinging and asking you what Alexa should do for you. And then $5,000 in cash sponsored as well by Amazon Web Services. So we are changing the lives of a lot of companies that are changing the world here today.
Awesome. Exciting for all these teams. We're waiting to hear the winners of these prizes. So from last year, we're going to check in with the winner of the Source Technology for Social Equity Award. Cody, would you like to tell us a little bit about Danya and NoNap?
Yeah, Danya saw a problem. She ran after that problem, developed NoNap, which I'll let her tell you a little bit more about. But what we want to focus our energy on is elevating entrepreneurs who are focused on some of the biggest challenges that they see and finding solutions to those problems, right? Moving the brain trust of young people towards the big, hairy problems ahead of us so that we can make a dent in the universe for the better. Back to you.
Wonderful. So we have a first time of something we're going to share called Between Two Founders. And this is going to be a conversation between Danya and Elliot, two founders on the roller coaster journey of entrepreneurship.
Hi, my name is Danya Sherman, and I am the founder and CEO of NoNap. And I'm so excited to be able to do this conversation now with my dear entrepreneurial friend, talking about two founders' journeys and adventures. So, my company, NoNap, works to empower, educate, and advocate against drug facilitated sexual assault and crime through empowerment tools and education. Our products are discrete, gender inclusive diagnostic tools that test for specific rape drug presence that are consumer facing, so individuals are able to use the products in social settings, not have to choose between social comfort and their own welfare. And I'm going to punt it over to one of my absolute best friends, who I'm so excited to have this conversation with, Elliot Roth, who we got to know each other when we were both starting our companies. So, Elliot, over to you, love.
It's been a while since we got started, and so good to just hang out and talk to you between two founders. So Spira creates replacements for petroleum-based colors, like artificial colors and animal proteins, using a type of engineered algae. And we work with a network of farms all over the world to actually cultivate our ingredients to replace, carbon-producing ingredients that food, cosmetic, and textile companies use in their day-to-day offerings. So it's been really fun to be able to go on this entire journey with you over the past couple of years. I was so happy to have found somebody when we were both in DC that got it in the same kind of way. And so I got to say, checking in with you routinely over these past couple of years has been mind-blowing, because both of us have been through a lot. And so I don't even know where to get started. I mean, do you want to get started in how we know each other? I think that's kind of interesting.
That could be a great start, but I also think it would be fun to touch on the importance of having a community when you're a founder, and the importance of having people that understand what you're going through. Because maybe part of this conversation, I'd love to highlight the importance of mental health and checking in with your colleagues, right? Because at the end of the day, when you're growing a company, and you and I know this very well, right? It can be a very lonely experience. And it definitely, it makes the journey a lot more fun if you have people to share it with. And so I'm beyond appreciative that I have people like you in my life that I can call on and say, Elliot, do you want to jump on an ASUio call? And you go, yes.
Of course.
And let's talk about life and relationships. But it does make a difference, and you need that free space.
I mean, you talk about the network a little bit too. I think there's the personal and professional realms, and oftentimes they don't overlap. But with the sort of entrepreneurial communities that we're involved in, they have to overlap, because if you're not friends with the people that you're not working with necessarily, but you're working on similar things, then it gets just super difficult. And for example, you and I, we were trained in Halcyon on how to network properly. And so now you and I, we know the same kind of things, and we can work a crowd properly.
Maybe not during COVID, but
yeah, probably not during COVID. But what's interesting is that the bigger your network is, the more opportunities come your way automatically, because people know you. They're like, oh, that's the algae guy, or oh, that's Danya. She is the detector napkin, and let's send stuff her way, right? And everything associated with that. And it means that you get opportunities coming to you without having to try. Without having to advocate for yourself, because you already have these ambassadors and advocates for you in the community. I am one of your biggest supporters, and I think you're freaking awesome. And everybody I ever encounter who I'm oh my God, I know somebody who you should connect with, right?
But I think it goes to maintaining relationships is a bigger part of having your community. And one of the reasons that it's one thing to have a big network, right? But I find that the authenticity of those relationships is so much more important in being and having ambassadors and being an ambassador for other people, right? you know, through the years we've supported each other, and you do those touch points, and there we learned like the quantifiable number of, you know, when you meet someone, connect with them 7 times throughout the year, and that's maybe how you stay and build a good
But you
network.
got to have a reason, you know, and that's
You have to have
what
a
I think is
Yeah.
different. Is like there's some people that I've met in this journey that I don't feel a strong connection with, because even if there is a reason or anything like that, when we do finally connect, there's not that like personal, authentic level of connection. And it's one of those things where I think the friendship in business should come. If you really want strong long-term connections, the friendship comes first. Has there ever been a time though when you wanted to just like shake me and be like, Elliot, just stop, just kind of like level set, or give me advice or guidance or something like that, where I'm just doing something dumb?
Yes, I have. You were talking with me about how frustrated you were about a team member that was not living up to expectations. And I remember there's sometimes, at least for me, when I get advice from people, and if I'm actually actively listening,
Yeah.
right, I need to call someone knowing that I'm open to advice.
Yes.
If I call someone with a problem, right, I'll now preface my calls with glasses coming off, this stuff serious. I now preface my calls with, I just need you to listen,
Yes.
or I'm here for advice. Because at the end of the day, you need to get what you need from that person, and vice versa. So I remember I wanted to shake you so freaking badly at that call, because I was saying, call that person. And I remember you being frustrated and not knowing if you wanted to do that to damage that relationship.
Right.
And that was a moment.
I kind of want to ask, like, you've done like a hell of a lot of competitions, right? And there's this kind of like treadmill that you get on almost, right? Where there's like this financial opportunity, and you have pre-written content, and you like copy it on over, and like you modify it and you submit, and like both of us collectively have submitted over 1,000 applications probably. I was so frustrated in pitch competitions, and I had gotten to the point where I was like, I don't care anymore. I think what we have based on my discussions with customers is valuable, and I need to stop like bullshitting myself that we need to constantly be on this treadmill of like putting ourselves out there. Like the only people that we really need to put ourselves out there for are customers, are people that think like what we're selling is worthwhile.
I agree. I think that customer is the key performance indicator, right? That's your main KPI, should be your sales and how you're resonating with your customer. I differ in the perspective that I think pitch competitions have enabled me to tailor the conversation, tailor how I'm presenting, and know what works and what doesn't. It's like an A/B test. I do 2 pitches with 2 different decks, 2 different whatever. The competitions have a great way of enabling you to quickly disseminate what you're doing to an audience of people that otherwise may have never heard of you before, your company. I do agree 100% though that cash is king. Cash rules everything around me. And it's not even the results of the competition that are the greatest indicator. It's after that competition, how many people have followed up with me.
Right. Let's talk about all the weird living situations too, and kind of
you've had a journey just growing, and yeah, go ahead. Like you lived last year in a apartment with like 7 other people.
Right. Yeah. Well, so I started out and I was couch surfing. Then I lived on a couch in Ireland with a bunch of algae bubbling tanks above me. Then I came back and I was moved into Halcyon, which I was basically like living in a small one bedroom with 2 other people, and then working in the attic and setting up the lab in the attic. And then I lived in my parents' basement and set up a lab in their spare bedroom. And then more recently, I finally reached this level where I'm not worried about survival anymore. And that was really key, is like shifting the mindset from survival to enabling myself to thrive a little bit more. And I remember there was this moment in which I was talking to an investor, and he was saying, like, "Oh, you've been living on how much? Like, what are you doing?" He goes, "Dude, it's okay if you take a little money off the table just to make sure that you're not just struggling." And that to me was like mind blowing, because I never considered anything beyond sacrificing everything about myself as a means of putting it back into my company and helping my team.
No, absolutely. I think there's a notion that the only way to grow a company is through that hustle,
Yeah.
right? That entrepreneurial hustle that you always hear about. When in reality, the hustle is great for a month or 2 months until you burn out. This is where mental health comes in. We are humans. And if we're constantly under this stress of, I don't know where my next check's going to come in. I don't know if my company's going to stay alive. What's next? I have payroll I have to meet. I have customers I have to satisfy. If you're not also taking care of yourself, when we are just machines, right? Then we are not going to be performing best in our company. It's almost like treat yourself a little better so that it's better for the company, right? Treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself, like in Parks. Sorry. So, but Elliot, just as a wrap up, how can people get in touch with you in the future?
Yeah. So if you want to get in touch with me, email me at Elliot, ELLIOT, at Spira Inc., SPIRAINC.com. You can follow us. All of our handles are at Spira Inc., SPIRAINC. And so feel free to reach out anytime. I'm always willing to touch base and connect.
And likewise, for me, you can reach out at information@nonap.com. That's KNONAP.com. We are on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at nonap. And we have a lot of really exciting things coming up. So I am beyond excited, Elliot, to have been able to have this conversation with you. I love you to pieces. You are a powerhouse. So thank you for joining me today. As well, I'd love to give a huge thank you to ASU's Innovation Open and Source Global for all the work that you do in empowering entrepreneurs like Elliot and I to create social change and change in the world. I would also love to give a huge congratulations to all of the founders that are finalists in the 2021 competition. In this crazy time that we're in, you are innovating and changing the world, and I give you, regardless of your placement, a huge congratulations and shout out. I look forward to seeing the work you continue to do in changing the world. So thank you so much to ASU Innovation Open, Source Global, and thank you for the work that you do. This is Danya Sherman and Elliot Roth signing off.
Well, thank you so much, Danya and Elliot, for sharing so openly. Mike, Tristan, what are your thoughts? That was a lot of good, juicy stuff in there about what it's like to really be an entrepreneur.
First, for me, I feel like I have to brush up on Wu-Tang Clan, Parks and Rec, and accept the idea that I need to fail forward, right? I think that's the big message here, is that entrepreneurship is lonely because you're often criticizing yourself, and community is important. And so it's this balance of kind of fearlessly failing forward while also trusting people with your failures, and potentially listening to Cream as your theme song while that's happening. So, Mike?
I definitely agree. Criticizing yourself or trying to prove yourself wrong is a big part of entrepreneurship. So having those people around you in your community and people to talk to, it's very important to do that. So keep talking to other people, have that community, and keep it between the founders.
Yeah, it's a really important point. These competitions are not just about the prize money, although that's the fun, exciting part at the beginning, but these really tight networks of entrepreneurs that are built amongst those who are competing together. Those are the types of folks who are the only ones who really understand what life is like for you, and so it's a really great network to have. As our next exciting piece, we are honored to share a very interesting interview keynote, Zoom style, with two very successful people in tech. First, Ivy Ross, who's a vice president of design for all hardware products at Google. And she'll be hosted and interviewed by Cheryl Heller, who's the director of design integration and professor of practice right here at ASU.
Well, I'd like to start by thanking everyone on the Innovation Open team, and special thanks for giving me an excuse to talk to my dear friend Ivy Ross of many years. We never have enough time to talk, and we'll pretend we're all alone having a discussion. So thank you. And thank you so much, Ivy, for making time.
My pleasure. Sounds good to me.
Great. You have an extraordinary history, and I'd love to start by asking you what drew you to become a designer in the first place? And then what is it about working in big multinational corporations that satisfies the creative person in you?
So I don't think I had a choice but to be a designer because of my DNA and the household I grew up in and the inspiration all around me. My dad was an industrial designer. He worked for Raymond Loewy, a famous designer. And I grew up in a house that he designed, and Andy Warhol made a movie in it. It was so ahead of its time. So my world was surrounded by innovation, attention to details. And in fact, looking back, I now realize ever since I was a little girl, my dad actually taught me how to get in that, what we now call flow state. He would say, put down that doll and look at that lamp shade and look at the connections and the way it's wired and the material they used. And I would just kind of, it was like story time. I was the only child that instead of being read a book, I was read kind of the way things get put together and the choices we make. And so the beautiful thing is it was a natural inclination to slide right into being a designer. The reason I started working with large companies, although I did have my own company when I was 20 and my metal work was in museums, is that my metal work that I did at first, you know, an artist puts a piece of themselves on a pedestal and stands back and hopes that someone resonates with it. And a designer, I believe, solves big problems within constraints. And so I experimented with being the artist, which is very rewarding to take a piece of your soul and have it on display. But for me, and my dad kind of set the stage for this, it is more rewarding when you see millions of people respond to something that you or you and your team have done. So I think it was really about the impact one can have in working for large companies.
And in order to have that impact, you have to be very much in touch with what you know and what you do. And you also have to be able to translate that and extend that to lots of other people. And you have had really remarkable approaches to that, right, throughout your career. Can you talk about how do you translate your own creative instinct and your own sense of innovation and creation to large departments of people?
Yeah, great question. So I think I'm very grateful for the time I had more as a solo artist, because I think I really got in touch with how you have an idea and you use your hands to manifest it by being in constant dialogue, thinking, talking, creating, thinking, talking, creating. But it was I really enjoy people and I enjoy human possibilities. And so it can be lonely when you do that with yourself. And so I became much more interested in, okay, I've given myself the gift of this ultimate creativity loop. And now how do I give that gift to others so we do this together? And I think it starts with, first of all, being really confident in yourself and having had some successes helps, and staying true to who you are as a person and what your gifts and talents are. And then it is about how do you inspire others? And I think of my role now, I call myself often an orchestra conductor, because I really spend the time to get to know my instruments and get to know their gifts and talents and who they really are at the core, and look for the fire in their eyes when they get excited about something, and try and create roles and jobs that amplify that. But my job as the orchestra conductor is to work with the team and decide what symphony are we playing, and then hold that vision or hold that musical score in by zooming out in my mind's eye, and make sure it's like whole systems thinking that, sometimes it's we need a little more drums, a little less saxophone, and be the one that puts impulses into the system to make sure that we're headed to the vision that we've aligned on. Making sure along the way that I'm inspiring, and my job is what ingredients do I need to put into this system or this container that I'm creating in order for people to do their best work and for us to be in resonance with what we're trying to achieve.
So a person could listen to that and imagine a normal office environment where leaders talk about inspiring people and paying attention to the energy level. But you've gone so far beyond that. You think about the chairs people sit in, you think about the environment, you think about sound and their physicality. Can you talk specifically about some of the dynamics that you bring to what was before you came a typical office environment?
Yeah, so throughout my career, I've gotten braver and braver. I've studied. There's things. I'm a constant learner. I think we're all here to be on a journey of learning and curiosity and to evolve together. But so I study things on the side like sound, vibration, color, light. I mean, anything that catches my attention. I'm a little bit like Alice in Wonderland. I go through the rabbit hole and I'm like, I need to know more about this. And I think life is about, especially for a creative, taking in information and connecting the dots. And so with all these things I've learned on the side, it really started with one day at Mattel Toys. I looked out over the sea of 300 people that worked for me in little gray boxes. And I had the CEO going faster, more creative. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so not the way to work. And I thought, all right, I'm going to do this master experiment and take everything I know to be true from my other studies in life and see what that looks like to give the gift of what I now know, and can I put it into practice in the work environment? Because I'm very grateful. I realized I have a little microcosm of the universe or the world right here called a company and called my team. And so I bought, I thought about things like when I have my best ideas, where are they coming from? They don't drop out from the sky. It's really when I feel like these aha moments when my left and right brain are kind of coming together. And so I went to one of my sound teachers and said, our brain is a muscle and we can exercise our muscles. Can I exercise my team's right and left half of their hemisphere to come together more? And he said, and this was 20 years ago, he said, yeah, I can create a CD with binaural beats that if they listen through headphones 20 minutes a day will exercise the two halves of their brain to come together. So I went out and I bought sound chairs which have speakers and transducers underneath. And I found a closet in the company to stick them in because I had to hide them because this wasn't a legitimate program yet. And I asked for, my 300 people, I felt a bit like Martin Luther King and said, I have a dream that we can work more productively together differently and be happier. And who wants to volunteer? Because I have to prove it. And so I had 12 volunteers. I found an independent company to administer a creativity test, which is 5 different attributes of putting certain shapes together, et cetera, and then had them administer it 6 weeks later after each of these 12 people for 20 minutes a day would listen through headphones and just chill in the closet with their headphones. And sure enough, it showed the creativity increased by 18%, and anything over 10% was considered significant. And so there's been many, but one of the highlights of my career was going to a staff meeting to the president and pulling out this chart and going, I increased creativity by 18%. And she said, what did you do? Did you fire people? Did you hire people? I said, no, I let them listen to music through headphones 20 minutes a day. And then I handed in the receipt. And so now I'd like the money back for the chairs. So what I've done is I always am, if I'm passionate and believe in something, I will put my own time and money into proving it. And so that got me on a journey of looking at what other ways can I create a better work environment and a more creative environment, even if they look nothing like the way we think about an office today. And so throughout, that led to something called Project Platypus at Mattel, where I wove in a lot of different methodologies. The last one I'll tell you about, because it's interesting, is I would witness when people would brainstorm. You know, sometimes you have 4 people together and you could spend 2 hours and nothing happens. And sometimes you take 3 people and in an hour or 40 minutes, you have answer to the world's problem. And I thought, well, that's because these people are on the same wavelength and these people are not. And I said, wow, can I get people on the same wavelength? Because if we start at the same place, we can spiral together to new places. And so once again, used one of my sound teachers. He came in, he found we took 12 people, the fundamental place at which these 12 people resonate, which will be different for another 12, which will be different for another 12. I now have a stack of CDs of each of these 12 people. And we found the fundamental frequency at which they resonate. That means that they are, it's a frequency that they are capable of naturally, of where they connect. And so whenever we would design together in the morning in the studio, I would turn on the CD that had this particular frequency embedded in the music. You didn't even hear it. It was in the music, octaves up and down. And you know, the concept of entrainment, when cuckoo clocks swing separately, eventually they will start to swing together. So what happens is after about a half hour, we were all entrained to that same frequency. Again, totally unconsciously, but we were like gelling. I mean, we were in the groove. And you know, when you are excited and you're brainstorming with someone, and it's like clicking and you're yes and you're building on ideas. So that's what would happen. And so I ultimately won the Chairman's Award for Sustainability of the whole company because of this, what we called Project Platypus, this way of working with people differently. And I've since then carried, you know, everywhere I go now, being at Google, I'm very grateful that they let me work with the architect and design the interior of the design space that we work in, which was very much designed around the way I know creativity works best in terms of, you know, both spaces for groups, spaces for individuals. And we also have sound beds now that you can program through an app. You book it for a session, 15 minutes. You can dial it to, you know, creativity versus relaxation, depending on whether you're stressed, you can't solve a problem. You just kind of lie down, turn on the frequency, and it just either clears your mind if that's what you're looking for, so you can approach the problem differently, or puts you in a relaxed state. So I'm fortunate enough that I've always run creative departments where people are more open to trying new things, but they, I'd say 95% of the time work. So that's hopefully what the kind of stories you were looking for.
Absolutely. So we're going to come back and I'm going to ask you to translate that for founders and people who are starting things. But I think we were together in New York when Google offered you a job. Mm-hmm. I remember you saying that this was the job that was going to allow you to integrate all the things you'd done before. And I guess the question I have for you was whether Google was ready for you. When you
yeah, no, I remember closing my eyes because I had like one other offer that I was seriously considering at the time. And I thought, which one of these jobs would I regret not taking? And the other one was something that I thought, well, that kind of company, they'll always be around. And this was Google X, which, you know, was just coming out of the closet with the kinds of moonshots they were doing. And so I thought, to be invited there, and it was quite a rigorous process, like I'd be crazy not to try this. And, you know, it had a reputation for having smart people and being, and especially with the moonshots, really thinking ahead of the curve. And for me, you're right, I did say that, and it's true, because I've always been a bit of a futurist. And even though this was my first job working in technology, for me, technology has always been a part. Even at Mattel, I think worked with an inventor and did the first baby doll that had more sensors. It was on the cover of Wired magazine. So I remember in my interview with Google, they said, but you haven't done technology. And I said, that's not true. Because, you know, I see technology as just a way, it's a tool to help people. So that didn't scare me, the fact that I hadn't been in technology. And I thought, yeah, I'd be crazy not to take this. So that was 7 years ago. And I came in through Google X, and I'm now Vice President of Hardware Design for all of Google. And Google has a successful hardware business with everything from phones, laptops, home products, wearables. And so my team does all the industrial design, research, color materials, finish, packaging, et cetera. It goes on. I have about 10 different kinds of teams that work on this product.
And what have you brought to Google? What is Ivy that's at Google now? And how has all your other experience helped you bring that to Google?
Yeah, I think, you know, Google never had physical, really very little physical design. So they were, you know, and I think companies, the way, the spirit in which it starts is kind of, that stays in the field. So being, you know, basically oriented towards software and browser, it was very much on screen and not physical product. So this and discipline of design of physical things was a brand new discipline. And I remember that people have told me, oh, you're a teacher at heart. And I thought, no, that's not, I'm not a teacher. Now look at both of us, Cheryl. But I mean, I realize I have been a teacher at Google because I'm very proud, and my boss said this to me the other day, do you realize in 5 years what you've done, in that we did not have this design discipline for, you know, objects or three-dimensional forms. And what you've created as a world-class, I mean, we've won 140 design awards. We were, after 2 years, picked as Fast Company's Design Company of the Year. So I realized, oh my God, I've never worked in such a large company and yet come in and created something that didn't exist, that quickly rose through the ranks. And now, you know, people are calling world class. And I have a incredible, you know, team, because it's not me, it's my orchestration with the team. And I think I have been acknowledged in not only bringing this discipline, but really bringing a rigor to, you know, user experience, not just data, but intuition, kind of really working with the left and right brain. And, you know, from day one, the team and I, the good thing about coming late to a category, you know, because Apple, Samsung, they were all in this game before us, is you get to stand back and look at what's already there and say, I am this, I'm not this, and really say, who are we, or who do we want to be in this game? And then what are the design attributes that we want to make sure we show up with? And so what we all felt was missing, there was a lot of, you know, black boxes, I'm being a little facetious, and blinking lights, blue blinking lights in technology is, wait a minute, you know, technology is here to stay in our homes if it continues to be useful. Because, you know, I think I once heard Kevin Kelly say the definition of technology is anything man-made. I mean, it's a window, it's a door, it's a car, but all those things have stayed with us because they've proven to be useful tools. And I believe, you know, technology, most of it is. And so technology is here to stay. The question is, what we need to do is figure out how it beautifully blends into our life and no longer needs to stand out like a shiny object or a big black box kind of beating its chest and saying, look at me, I'm here. And so that created a design language that was much more tactile, sensorial, used fabric, colors, things that, you know, objects that would sit in your home that would, some people don't even realize is technology. And since then, you know, many have copied our essence. And so I always say to the team, we have got to evolve. So it's been a really interesting exercise about how do you stay core to those design principles, but continue to always evolve.
Fantastic. So let's turn to all of the people watching you who are wanting to know how they can have some of that. How do I get that without your teams, without Google behind you? What do you say to people who are founding something and at the beginning of their innovation process? And any kind of advice, right? How do they develop technology that's useful?
Yeah, I think in most cases you have to start with, what problem am I solving? First you have to put yourself in the position of observing problems. I mean, I think, in fact, I just brought an anthropologist to talk to my team about, the similarity between anthropologists and designers, for example, because I think, it's going digging for what are you seeing, what are you observing, and then what can you make of that? So I do think, and I think, certainly design and starting one's own company is either, what problem am I solving that no one has solved before, or how can I do what's already being done that much better, different. And I have seen the best businesses, I have to be honest, because I sit on the boards of a few startups, come from a founder's. There has to be something, I think, relatable to the founder. It's not just a numbers game of, oh, look, there's an opportunity over there, but some connection to, this is a problem I want to solve in my life, or this is something that I think can be done better. So I would say, if you're starting out, it's not just the pragmatic act of where are the holes in the market, so to speak. It's also, what do I care about? How does this relate to me? And am I going to want to devote a big chunk of my life to it? Because I think that passion is such a huge driver, and it gets you through the highs and the lows. Because having your own business, which there's good and bad things about having your own business versus being in a large company, but you have to have a team that you can laugh and cry with, because the great thing is that you're going through it together. But I would say it starts with, there has to be some connection to something that, like I said before, you're either passionate about or you want to solve. And then I think the next thing to me is finding, I've been on calls where I've had founders trying to say, do I need a co-founder? Do I not? And then the question is, do you do it by yourself or do you get a co-founder? And I would say the more, when you step into that piece of it, the more you can be self-aware and be really honest with, self-aware about your skills. And it's not just, here's what I can do, but it's, here's what I love to do and I'm best at doing. Because most of us can do anything or a lot of things, but it doesn't mean we are great at it or that we actually are happy doing it. So I think the next thing I would say is this question of, do I start it by myself or do I start it with a co-founder? And really being honest about, who am I? What are my strengths and weaknesses? And find, if you're open to finding someone that complements you and really spending time with them. I mean, it's like creating a company is like giving birth to a baby. I mean, it has, it's a really, and I would say, I know there's this speed to market piece, but I also say in the beginning, this part about having a little bit of patience and gestation period, is a good thing.
I think there's another lesson in the way that you work, and it's something that's also very important to me. And it's the notion of creating conditions for success rather than going for a single answer, right? Or the fast shot, that you look to build teams and you look to create conditions inside organizations where innovation happens repeatedly and where the same group of people work together long enough that they get better together.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about that as it relates to founders?
Well, I think it's so important. First of all, I think relationships is all there is. At the end of the day, it's relationships to ourselves, to each other, and I also believe to the natural world. But relationships are key. And so, and I think I learned this from my dad, because after working for Raymond Loewy, he had a small office of like 10 people. He had his own firm called Creative Designs International. And he would bring me down there, I remember, as a little sponge, and I would be drooling and dribbling in a table, in a chair. He'd plop me down. But I was watching the way he worked with his team, and the way he worked at getting everyone in resonance with each other. And so I really grew up with not underestimating the power of the team and the relationships that you form, and spending time to do that almost before, you know, you start to take on the first project. Because I think creativity comes from trust, first of all. And so you have to establish, you know, trust. I know I was once part of a project where a company was starting from scratch, and they hired a headhunting firm, and they first looked in the field and said, we're going to take the best in product development, the best person in marketing, the best in finance, and put them all in a room, and then observe, give them a project to solve, and watch the way they interact with each other and see if there's chemistry, like see if there's even, if it works. And then sure enough, you know, something wasn't happening. So then they said, okay, it's better for us to take out the best in product development and put in the number 2 person. So they understood the power of relationship, and that you may end up with the world's 3rd best in finance and 5th best in product design and 1st best in marketing. But the key thing was that they really worked well together. And so I would say the environment of the relationships and trust is huge. And I do think that, yeah, you have to set up the container for which success can happen. And so people are first. And I do think environment, and I don't mean you don't have to spend a lot of money, but, you know, as a designer, and I think environment does matter, and neuroaesthetics is now proving that it affects our physiology. So, you know, the space around you, the shapes, the height of ceilings, are they curves, are they square, are they, you know, is it brick, will definitely affect your physiology. So that's just something to keep in mind. And again, some of these things I'm talking about, I'm not talking about glamorous. Some of the spaces I have felt the best in were the least expensive to create. And then I think it's really honoring, you know, getting to know each of the team really well, and being open, setting from the beginning this way of exercising this muscle of trying things, and being honest when it's not working, or you know, just this feeling that you're in this together is super important. It's the conditions I try and set up from the beginning, one of collaboration and respecting, you know, I think diversity equals creativity. So I think from the beginning to have diversity of people's backgrounds equals diversity of perspective, because often there isn't really anything new. It's just, it's the way the combination of different people's perspectives added up. And then, you know, someone sees, oh my God, that's it. Is what makes something successful. So I think diversity is another, and I don't just mean diversity of ethnicity, it's diversity of perspective and thinking, as well as ethnicity and gender, et cetera.
Well, that's perfect, because I was going to ask you about what you thought the role of diversity is. So you answered it in advance. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to people who are just starting out with ventures of their own?
Well, I love the, I mean, don't ever lose that. There's a tenacity when you're starting on your own. There's, first of all, possibilities. I think the problem sometimes with big companies is they lose sight of this concept of possibility, because you can get bogged down in what you know today, what's worked, and you get very safe. What I love about entrepreneurial thinking is both the tenacity and the sense of possibility. You know, the sense of what if, what if we could do this? And I often, when I ran my Project Platypus groups, we always started out with a what if question, because I think often it's like, well, this is what is, and you start right with the facts versus the what if. What if we were able to turn this industry inside out, or turn, you know, this model into something different? And so I'd say never lose that what if, and even when you become successful, keep doing that to evolve. And I think, again, the tenacity of the desire to create, I think, you know, it's a beautiful thing being a creator, because it's, I think, the ultimate gift of when you create. So, but do that responsibly. I mean, the other thing I would say is, you know, we all need to create responsibly now. I think this virus is in part a virus of consciousness, and Mother Nature is a bit upset at the way we've been behaving for the last 50 years. So she kind of sent us to our rooms to think about that and come out a little bit different. So I would say create with a sense of possibility, but do it responsibly. And I think it's such a creative time. I think there's a lot to be done in bioengineering, new materials. I mean, on every level, we need entrepreneurial thinking to both solve the complexity of our world today and to be sustainable.
Well, I would add another lesson that you demonstrate, which is that founders should never, or any leader should never, stop thinking about their own growth and their own curiosity.
Yes, you're right. It's so natural to me because it's the only way I know how to be. But you know, I am better, and my team is better for the things I continually to feed myself with, because it's super important, because it's very draining, and unless you're constantly learning new things, taking in new information, I think you can't really give it out to your people or to yourself or to the world. So yes, feed yourself and be curious. You're right. Someone asked me the other day, how would you call yourself or describe yourself? And what came to me immediately, I don't know where it came from, is I said, I'm a child of wonder. And I think that explains it. I mean, and then I had a big grin on my face. I don't know where that came from, but it really felt right. I think that's how I've been in the world. And I will continue to be.
Well, I think that's a really lovely thing to leave with everyone who's watching and everyone who has ambition to innovate and to grow and to make things happen in the world. So Ivy, I can't thank you enough for your time. And it's always wonderful wherever in the world we come across each other and get to spend time. So thank you.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure, and can't wait till we can have dinner together somewhere, someplace.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I will thank everyone for watching again and turn it back to the team.
Thank you so much, Ivy and Cheryl, for sharing incredible thoughts about design and technology and advice for these entrepreneurs. Mike, what stood out to you in that conversation?
Well, there's definitely a lot of things to keep in mind. Entrepreneurship is definitely a team sport, even if you're a solo founder. It was only a year ago that I was a student on a assigned team on a project, and I think team dynamics and culture is definitely underrated. So make sure you're paying a lot more attention to that and putting that effort into that, and it will go a long way. But that was my main takeaway. What about you, Tristan?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. We're talking to a bunch of teams today that have worked in this team for a purpose, right? And we were listening to that, I heard a lot about entrepreneurship, right? Working within companies that have established purposes and how you can kind of leverage that mindset wherever you go. It doesn't have to be for your startup. It doesn't have to be for the first startup you have. It could be for actually making a company or a product that exists better. And I really loved, more than anything, how she really roots in the what if, right? It takes it kind of out of the ego of a founder and puts it into your customer, into the product, into the service you're creating. So just a little twist on how I know entrepreneurship.
Awesome. So what if we were going to give away over $300,000 in cash and prizes today? And with that, it is time to start handing out the prizes. Let's see how we got here.
ASU is the country's largest university, 84,000 students. There's 25,000 students just in the engineering school. And that is sort of the hub of the ASUio, is really how do we take the largest university, the largest engineering school, and start to create that center of mass for tech innovation and entrepreneurship.
People are always finding new problems to solve. And so competitions like this allow, really stretching our imaginations on what's possible.
We have over 20 companies that represent some of the most talented student ventures from across the United States and internationally.
All with great intentions on improving the world one innovation at a time.
It's amazing to see student entrepreneurs who are looking to change the world in some way that really lifts humanity up.
Atemba is working to expand breast cancer diagnosis globally through a novel, reusable cord needle breast biopsy device that reduces the risk of contamination and is more cost effective.
We developed the glove to combine the existing rehabilitation exercises with motivating computer games. So instead of pushing a rubber ball, you can actually play while having your rehabilitation therapy.
We're creating the smart hearing device that gives users full control of their auditory environment by seamlessly interpreting their brain and biosignals and enhance what they want to hear.
Icebox is a smart camera you can place in your fridge to help you keep track of your food items. Through our Icebox app, you can see a list of items in your fridge and suggestions of recipes.
Nutravide is an infant pacifier that has a cartridge mechanism system that allows it to passively dispense both nutrients and medicines to infants.
Optical Waters has been able to invent germicidal site-emitting optical fibers. This is a way to deliver ultraviolet radiation into tight channels and spaces to prevent disease-causing biofilms from infecting humans in hospitals and homes around the world.
I think the ASU Innovation Open brings together a remarkable group of students from around the country who are really passionate about making a significant impact on the world and society.
I go to Northeastern in Boston, so it's kind of cool to connect with students kind of across the coast, if you will. It's kind of challenging to meet fellow student founders, so I think this is a good way to break that barrier and grow your network.
Any opportunity to share your story, share your product, and really get yourself out there and get some valuable feedback is really important, especially at the student level, to get exposure to the kind of folks you're going to need to know later on.
But also is a really great training on, we need to answer tough questions, we need to be well prepared, and we need to know our stuff.
Innovation is kind of the driving force behind much of the positive change that we see in the world today. So the potential to create world-changing products is kind of limitless, and the ASU Innovation Open is a platform for those products to be heard and to be put on display.
It's a combination of entrepreneurship and technology in the university setting, and it's at the highest level that you would see in other competitions and other similar programs.
I wanted to thank everybody for engaging this year. I can't wait for us all to be running this process in person next year, and looking forward to seeing who comes out on top.
Hey, Cody, can you tell us a little bit about this year's semifinalists?
Yeah, before I do that, I just wanted to say I so enjoyed Cheryl and Ivy's conversation. This idea of sort of design-based problem solving, design-based culture building, and of course, culture-based problem solving, all of which sort of Google X and Google more broadly is known for. I found myself sort of thinking of that REM song, What's the Frequency, Kenneth? And a little bit of inception there, watching myself speak to myself from that last video. And of course, Danya and Elliot, their conversation, so much energy and brilliance of, young entrepreneurs. It's just so invigorating to hear, folks talk about their experiences. And today, in the semifinalists, truly everyone is a winner. I mean, it's such a phenomenal and, dare I say, humbling set of entrepreneurs and innovators. I mean, you look across the types of problems that everybody is working on. It's just remarkable, and it gives me great hope for the future of humanity as we come out of the twilight zone here of what 2020 was. This year, during this twilight zone period, we had a record number of contestants from over 50 schools. Over 60% of them are minority led teams, and over a third of them are led by women. And so, it's really just awesome to see the program grow, become ever more national, become ever more divergent in the set of people that are applying, and ever more divergent in the number of people that are working on problems that, really intend to improve the human condition. And so I'm super excited to give away this month. Back to you, Sid.
Awesome. Thanks, Cody. Tristan, what's unique about the ASUio this year?
Well, because everybody's been in their own home and their own spaces, we wanted to make the experience a little bit human, right? So the best part of any one of these competitions is seeing the shock and the hugs and the tears and the life that happens when teams win. And so we're going to give you a little sample of that today. Their mentors, somebody from the university, each team's a little different, but they're going to be knocking on a door and surprising the winners with a real life massive check. Like, we're talking Publishers Clearinghouse, if you're old enough to know what that is, size check. So join us in watching the shock and awe of our winners.
Fantastic. So it's time to start with our first award. This one was a bit unexpected and a great contribution from Amazon Web Services that was kind enough to grant us. Our first sponsor we are going to meet is Jenny Wong. She's the head of Startup Business Development with AWS. Over to you, Jenny.
Hi. Can everyone hear me fine? You can see that I'm in a car driving. I'm about to get onto a ferry, so I'm actually going like 2 miles an hour while doing this. But thank you for having me. I am very excited to present this award on behalf of the AWS Startups team. As mentioned,
Jenny, we're losing you a little bit.
But guess who we gained in the process?
Hello, Sparky.
Yeah, so if you are not an ASU student, or maybe one of our national or global teams, the character here we have on stage is Sparky, and he's here to also give prizes. And
all right, so we are going to introduce the first award to Nutravide.
God, thank you so much. Thank you. I'm honestly shook. Okay.
Am I back?
Sorry, I'm just out of breath right now.
Nutravide is an infant pacifier that has a cartridge mechanism system that allows it to passively dispense both nutrients and medicines to infants. Infant malnutrition is a global problem, but I think a lot of people are unaware of how it exists very locally. In several cities and urban areas, there are people who have no accessible way of administering medications and supplements to their infants. And having this cartridge system allows those supplements to be affordable, to be pre-measured, to be safe. Having that dosage accuracy every single time that a mother has to feed their crying infant, I think that would really change the game and would also relieve a lot of the burden that comes with dealing with illnesses as a mother.
We see B2B as our way of gaining traction among major pillars of healthcare communities. So from physicians, healthcare executives, big pharma, pharmacists, and from primary interviews, we've discerned that parents' primary concerns are obviously with the safety of the product. So instead of force feeding our product to them, we think that by running a quality improvement project at an IDN like New York Presbyterian, really seeing if they are going to be reducing medication administration error rates and getting the data to back us up, then we think that traction naturally will lead to a better, larger launch. And that larger launch will lead to a consumer buy-in that's kind of backed by all those healthcare stakeholders.
Can we see those winners? No, we can't see our winners.
Super curious
Okay.
what they're going to be spending the money on.
I mean, they're jumping up and down, they're crying, they're hugging, they're doing all the things.
It's presently an empty space. And
Wonderful.
He ran next door to let his neighbor know that he won this money.
Is he picking up the check now?
Yeah, so I don't know about you, Mike, but I have 2 kids. And when I was looking at the winners of this, I was thinking my life would have been so much easier, especially in those ages of like 0 to 1. If I had something like this. It was one of those moments where I was like, why didn't I invent that?
Absolutely. It's easier to resonate with the product when you can see yourself using it in your daily life.
For sure. Sparky, do you have any kids? No, okay, all right.
All right, so I'm sure they're out, they're cashing the check, they're starting to build product and sell it and do all those magical things that companies do. Yep.
IPO.
Fantastic. All right, well, technology, folks, this is the way it goes.
Oh.
Hello.
There you are.
Oh, there's the check.
You got a check.
Oh, there's some clapping. Yes, great.
Is that us? Is that me? Who's clapping?
Hello. Hello.
Sorry. It was just a wave of adrenaline.
Absolutely. What are you going to spend the money on? Are you excited? What's in the shopping cart?
Yeah, so the main thing that this will help us fund is a soft launch for our product. We really wanted to get this into a hospital setting within the first half of this year, and I think with this money we'll be able to reach that functionally complete, fully tested prototype that'll be able to get us there. So thank you so much, AWS, and thank you so much for the organizers of the event.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Who's ready for the next prize? Our next prize is the eSeed Hardware Engineering Prize in partnership with SilSync. This award is sponsored by Tom Prescott, a big supporter of ASU entrepreneurship and his eSeed program. On top of the $25K in cash, there's also a $25,000 design services credit to the winner on behalf of Daniel Stone and SilSync. So I believe in the magic of technology, we might be connecting over to Tom and Daniel. Tom is a retired CEO of Align Technology, and Daniel Stone is the CEO of SilSync, an Arizona-based design services company.
Thanks very much, team, and thanks, Sparky. I just want to, again, pile on by showing our amazement with these student founders in such a challenging year. Dan and I get to give somebody $50,000, $25,000 in-kind hardware engineering services, really valuable for young teams still building capability, and $25,000 in cash. Maybe just a moment. I've spent 35 years in life sciences and medical devices, and most recently was CEO of Align Technology, who just moved across the lake from the stadium. The corporate headquarters will be there when it's finished. But we made Invisalign, designed and made Invisalign, literally as each of these teams have gone after a pain point. Align Technology with Invisalign literally cured a pain point, how to get a healthier, more beautiful smile without the pain of braces. Disrupted an industry, as many of you are trying to do, and in the process created a very successful company. But like all the sponsor companies today that you're seeing, each of us that you look at today is very successful big companies. We all had challenges on our own journey, even companies like Amazon that are incredibly successful. There were times they didn't know if they had a future. So the word that comes to mind for me, for each of you, is resilience. And what we've seen this year is the companies that were most resilient, that pivoted well with the reality of COVID, and especially student-led ventures under even more pressure and more difficult challenges to meet with your mentors and to interact with industry. We know that really good founders and great teams do better under adversity, actually, and you guys have demonstrated that. So without any further ado, Daniel and I would like to get this award going to Gernot Sumerman and the Synteract team from Aachen University. They have designed a really impressive gamified smart glove rehab device, and we're excited to see how it might evolve. And given what's happened recently with Robinhood and their gamified device for trading stocks and GameStop, we hope this team is aiming just as high. Gernot, please, congratulations.
Congratulations. Not yet.
We developed a glove to combine the existing rehabilitation exercises with motivating computer games. So instead of pushing a rubber ball, you can actually play while having your rehabilitation therapy. We started 7 years ago with the development of our glove. We originally started with the development to interact in the virtual environment. You may have heard or even tried virtual reality headsets, but you can't get a feeling of virtual objects. What we developed is the glove. So if you grab, for example, a glass, that your fingers will be pulled back so you can actually feel the resistance. Due to a stroke of a friend, we actually moved to a different area. So we had the glove and we had the possibility to measure every finger movement. We had the possibility to move the fingers. And then we saw like how boring and unmotivating the rehabilitation process can be. And therefore we thought like, why don't we combine the exercises with motivating computer games? Our tech will help people to have a rehabilitation all over the world. So either in Africa, either in Asia, either Europe, US, everywhere, this glove can enable people to do their rehabilitation, not just in the clinic, but even in their home or in a close by rehabilitation center on their own, because the therapist can be everywhere.
Let's hear from you, Gernot.
Thank you very much. I didn't expect that. Was very surprised that our mentor just came in. That's Katie.
Hi, I'm really proud.
Thank you very much. We are very proud to be a German team here in such a worldwide international competition. It's great to be nominated for this. And it will be a great help for us because we develop hardware and we don't want to stop here with the glove, but further work in the future on the whole body to enable people to regain their hand function, their body function, to be part of our society again.
That's wonderful.
Our first global winner in this competition. So congratulations to you guys.
Thank you very much.
Really cool, thank you.
Yeah, so I have a quick question. Do you guys think you could send a set of gloves out here for my friend Sparky? He needs an upgrade. I don't think these are nearly as technical as they have to be. Also,
of course we will.
Thank you. Just one set. I'm sure shipping will be fairly inexpensive, just a little chunk out of that check. Besides, sending a set of gloves to us, what are you guys going to use the funding for?
So, as I just said, we are working on future hardware products. So not just a glove, but expanding our technology on the complete body to bring the rehabilitation to the whole body and to enable really people to regain their hand functions, their arm functions, leg, and everything around that. But also in the VR space, virtual reality, that you are not just seeing your own hands in the virtual environment, but can see your whole body.
Amazing. I also want to give a shout out to the woman standing behind you. Rumor has it she had to get special permission to be in there today. You guys want to share a little bit about that right quick?
Well, yeah, we have Corona. We have a night club in the Netherlands, and he lives in Germany. So I had to cross border, and I'm really proud of our local governments from Aachen and from Limburg, who are both willing to participate.
Amazing. Thank you for doing that. I have a feeling they're very grateful as well. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome.
So exciting. It's so much fun to watch these founders win these prizes. This is a fun time for us. All right, third award. Our next one is the Amazon Alexa Award. This is sponsored by the Amazon Alexa Venture Challenge. And on top of $25,000 in cold hard cash, it also comes with $10,000 in AWS credits. We have with us today Kevin Crosby from the Alexa Fund, and he leads early stage programs for Amazon's Alexa Fund and Alexa startups. Over to you, Kevin.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to have everyone here, and congratulations to all the participants in the ASUio. It's been fantastic to be a part of the journey. I think I've actually been now in two rounds of it, so I've been able to see a fair amount of the challenges and hardships all the founders have been able to overcome, and all the leading edge innovation that you guys have all built over the past few years. Very excited to share this journey with Alexa and the founders that we have been able to interact with. Broadly speaking, our team interacts with venture investors, startups, technologists, and then all sorts of innovators around the world. And we always kind of strive to look at companies that are innovating across the Alexa stack. So things like hardware enabling components, the conversational AI, new verticals and form factors, frontier tech, but also developer ecosystem capabilities that really improve the overall system of voice and AI technologies. Through our role, we've actually been able to deliver a lot of really cool outcomes with both venture-backed startups that we've invested in, as well as partners that we've interacted with through our venture capital partners and our startup partners. So this year, we actually had some really good pitches and integrations and kind of discussions around what founders could be doing. We were really excited about all the opportunities we saw from integrating Alexa into their devices to building skills and improving the developer ecosystem. And so this year, we would like to award the Amazon Alexa Venture Award of $25,000 to Jama Mohammed at Sahara Cloud for their really interesting and innovative platform for cloud-based hardware development. We found the mission, it's very complex and a fragmented category to have to develop hardware technologies, and thought that this really could improve the developer ecosystem. So congratulations to the team, and we'll hopefully see some great innovation from this award. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think I just got a call from our mentor, so I'm gonna go grab the check. Sahara Cloud provides a web platform for engineers and developers to code, test, and develop on hardware electronics on the cloud without buying a single chip. Through our platform, you're able to actually access the hardware through a web browser without purchasing components or having any lead time, letting you develop and innovate faster. A lot of people think, okay, well, a Raspberry Pi Arduino is like, what, $10, $20? But the problem is that having a lab means that you need oscilloscopes, it means you need power supplies, it means you need a lot of supporting equipment. Now, on the other side with the simulation software, so things like maybe Tinkercad, the issue is that they don't actually allow a wide breadth of embedded electronics. Mostly they're very specific in terms of the type of hardware you can use. The other major difference is that we actually focus on system development, not just targeting one particular processor. So we want you to build your full embedded system, which is your either microprocessor or application processor with your sensors and your peripherals. Our entire mission value is to really democratize hardware development and innovation in the world. This is actually a problem that's been really exacerbated by COVID-19, where everyone has to stay indoors. So we really see ourselves as helping innovation in the world at large.
All right. The magic of technology again.
Do you think they got the check? Yeah, I think, you know, he stepped away for the check. I think this is the moment where we get to see massive check in.
Wait for it.
Dun, 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 dun. I mean, we could comment on how beautiful the artwork is.
Yeah, he has a great backdrop.
Yeah, it's a nice chair.
I don't think that's a Zoom background.
Mm-mm. Nope, that's
real.
not West Elm. Mm-mm, not at all. Yeah.
They're celebrating. They're cheering.
I have to say, holistically, all of these ventures make me reconsider my entire undergraduate at ASU. Like, I, first off, picked the wrong major, and I picked 2 of them. Second, I definitely should have done more. Well, I mean, I got 2 degrees. I didn't switch like most. Anyway, I digress. So I would say, you know, I feel like when I was 20-something, I was not starting a business.
No one was coming to your door with a job.
No!
None of these
I don't even have a
programs were
mentor.
here either.
Yeah, crazy. And but for you,
Yes, it was a little bit different. Some
Yeah.
of these programs were developed, but ASUio wasn't at its current state today when I was around. So everything is growing. ASU is growing. The community is growing.
When you got your check, was it just a regular size check?
It was Sparky handed it to me. It was a big check,
Oh,
but
it's a big one.
Yeah, it was a big one, but it was all in person, so that was kind of nice.
remember the days.
Remember the days.
All right, so my assumption is we should.
Yeah, there's probably like a lot of stairs.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
security.
a castle.
Maybe.
Yeah. So I think can we go to the next one? Come back?
We think, we're being told he's coming. No? We don't want to miss out on
Yeah, we can always come
celebrating.
back.
We can come back. Okay,
All right.
we're just gonna bounce around a little bit. Keep everybody on their toes.
Ourselves
Okay.
included.
Well, maybe appropriately titled, the next prize is Transform Your Thinking Prize. This prize is sponsored by On Semiconductor. They've been a sponsor for several years now, very generous of you, and are a really great partner. This award is focused on transforming your thinking. Dave Presack is here with us. He is the Vice President of Global Solutions Engineering with On. And we are hopefully going to go, oh, hey, Spiker. We're going to go right on over to Dave. There you are.
Hello there. Thanks, everybody. This is my second year here. I feel like an alum. I look forward to this every year. Just great excitement to see kind of where technology is going, some of the more complex issues that are being solved through technology. We at On Semiconductor ship about 80 billion semiconductor products a year. But I would consider these innovation enablers, right? We're making advances in power management, communication, sensing, imaging, and to see the use cases that are, you know, the problems that are being solved with these groups every year makes you feel very young and energized. I especially like the university element to it. As you'll notice, a lot of the pitches, these are very complex problems requiring multidiscipline. So this one really excited me, though. The winner of this one, because it combined multiple sciences, you know, electrical, chemical, mechanical, to solve a problem that we see. So last year we invested more in a company that was looking at advancements in education. So this one was a very different approach. Very excited to name the award this time, and the winner goes to nitricity. So nitricity is. Oh. So nitricity is a fertilizer-based company that actually makes the nitrogen live right there at the acreage, using water, solar power, and very excited to sponsor this team. Well done, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. They're doing fantastic. Thank you.
Nitricity is a fertilizer manufacturing company, and we do so in a way that has never been done before. We turn air and water and renewable electricity in the form of solar directly into fertilizer at the farmer's irrigation head. To start out, we'd like to couple with 75 acre, which is a standard plot size in California Central Valley. So we'll size our system to couple directly with the standard size of irrigation pump. So our system is a continuation of the irrigation pump that lets this plot not only inject water, but also now produce and inject its own fertilizer. There's many different types of fertilizer today, and each one has its different emissions associated with it. The fertilizers today, as produced in the Haber-Bosch fertilizer process, are shown in red. And this is the carbon dioxide emissions per pound of nitrogen in the fertilizer across many different types of fertilizer. We can produce each one of these fertilizers, and our emissions are shown in green. This combines the carbon dioxide emissions associated from the production of it and combines the modeled emissions of N2O once you put it in the field, and combines the distribution emissions associated with shipping today. You can see that we make nitric acid for no carbon dioxide emissions except for a little bit of N2O that's been modeled to come out. But this is about a factor of 3 or 4 lower than industrial produced. Fertilizer has been made the same way for 120 years. And the way that we make fertilizer is poisoning the same environment that farmers and entrepreneurs are seeking to cultivate. Should we be successful in the commercialization of our technology, we'll be able to decarbonize a very entrenched chemical industry.
Congratulations.
Excellent.
I love the social distance party you guys are having. Nice job. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Congratulations. I have to say, you guys, we've been waiting 125 years for you. Where have you been?
Oh my goodness. Well, now we're here, and holy cow, thank you very much.
You're so very welcome. Let us know, how are you going to use these funds?
Well, we build solar fertilizer production systems, so we're going to put some solar fertilizer hardware in the soil somewhere with this, and it's going to make a difference decarbonizing a big industry.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for your work. Thank you for changing the way we create fertilizer, for helping farmers everywhere. And, you know, I can't wait to taste the first set of crops that come out of your fertilizer. Thank you, everybody. Congratulations. Awesome. Let's keep it going.
All right, very exciting. We're going to keep it going by going a little bit backwards. We're going to go back and see Sahara because we think we can celebrate with you now. All right.
Hello, hello.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it took a while to kind of get down the elevator.
Yeah, you were pretty excited about that check, huh?
Yeah.
What do you think you're going to spend it on? What are some of your plans in the future? I've had your problem myself, so I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, so really our biggest kind of thing we're focusing on right now is hiring. We want to, right now we're at around the kind of beta stage, and really we need to onboard more engineers and designers to really build up the product and create more devices for our platform so that we can really offer something amazing to our users.
That sounds stellar. I'm excited to use it myself.
Definitely, sign up.
Okay.
Well, we're glad you made it back up that elevator and you can get started spending that money.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Congratulations.
To ASU
Congratulations.
and everyone.
Awesome. All right, moving into our next prize, which is the Source Technology for Social Equity Prize, one I'm a little partial to because, you know, full disclosure, I do happen to work at Source with our dear Cody Friesen, who will be presenting our next award. You're familiar with him already here in the show. And this is a $25,000 award focused on technology for social equity. Cody?
Yeah, when we started Source Global 5.5 years ago, it was really built around a technology for social equity. The idea that if we could solve drinking water around the planet, we could fundamentally lift humanity up. And so now we're doing that in 48 countries in that short span of 5 years of building the company. And so we wanted to pay it forward with this award, right? We wanted to basically find entrepreneurs who are looking at big problems with big solutions that when those solutions are applied, they fundamentally lift people up. So that's what this award is all about. Am I supposed to go straight to the award, or is there like some video that's going to play in between?
Just say the magical words.
Oh, okay. All right. Then without further ado, Optical Waters represents in spades what we're after. This award.
Go.
Optical Waters has been able to invent germicidal site-emitting optical fibers. This is a way to deliver ultraviolet radiation into tight channels and spaces to prevent disease-causing biofilms from infecting humans in hospitals and homes around the world. So how we're getting scattering is by the interaction with the photon with a nanoparticle. So basically, we put a bunch of nanoparticles around the fiber so that as the photon, the light is going through the fiber, it interacts and leaves the fiber. If you know how irrigation works, they put bigger holes towards the end of the pipe and smaller towards the beginning so that you get the same volume of water out of your hose. We're doing the same thing with the amount of nanoparticles. So we're putting very little nanoparticles in the beginning of the optical fiber, so where your light source is, so that you only have a little bit of side scattering. And as you're going through and you have less light, there's substantially a exponential increase in nanoparticles so that you have that increased radiation and so that we have even scattering throughout the length. Disease-causing biofilms are found, again, in literally every tight channel. So if you're looking at your own in-home pipes in your refrigerator, coffee makers, but then if you expand globally into developing communities, we're talking about well water, we're talking about the distribution systems where people's water might have been treated, but gets infected on the way to their home. And then you can bring it back to hospitals where the majority of lawsuits in hospitals are from biofilms. So this technology is a way to prevent all of those different infectious media.
All right,
hey.
Congratulations. Don't be mad at him, Mariana, for keeping it from you.
No, that's my husband, and he's a horrible secret keeper, so I'm very surprised he was able to do this. Yeah, thank you so much. This is huge.
Congratulations.
Awesome. Well, we chose you guys because you solved one of the greatest challenges in sterilizing water. The last few meters before dispensing, whether that's in a medical application or in drinking water applications. Tell everybody about your vision for the future.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, this all started for drinking water applications. That's what I did my PhD in, and this was invented through my PhD. And yeah, bacteria grows in all sorts of tight spaces, and we haven't been able to figure out how to get rid of the biofilm this bacteria causes. And I mean, UV light can disinfect anywhere, right? And with the pandemic, we know UV light can be used to sterilize environments, but there's no way to get that light into tight spaces. What we did is create a way to deliver light from UV LEDs or other mercury lamps, other UV sources, and deliver it into virtually any space possible. These are really thin and flexible optical fibers that we've been able to modify so they scatter light all along their side, basically like a giant glow stick that you can shape to whatever geometry you want. And so yeah, thank you, this is huge. I know y'all are gonna ask the question about how I'm gonna spend this. And our next step is to actually produce them in batch. We've been making them by hand until now, and it limits the length and the flexibility of the fibers. We already have a contract with the people who are gonna fabricate these in batch. We just didn't have the money. We actually need $20,000 for the next step, and this is basically gonna cover it. So it's huge. Thank you so much.
All right, well, congratulations again, and best of luck to you guys.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm just getting the chills thinking about all these businesses advancing forward, being able to take that next big step because of these prizes they're winning. And now we're about to launch into our two huge prizes. The first one is our first $100,000 prize. And this one is our BEV Climate Change Prize. And it is sponsored by Breakthrough Energy Ventures. And I'm going to toss it over to Cody to tell us a little bit about BEV and introduce Libby.
Oh, okay, so I'm back on. So Breakthrough Energy Ventures is a now $2.5 billion or so between the two funds. Group of investors that was founded by Bill Gates and a bunch of other folks that are focused on investing in companies that are solving climate change and specifically going after after solutions that can result in substantial offsets to the total anthropogenic carbon footprint globally. So with that, let me introduce Libby Wayman, who's been a friend of mine for I don't know, 20 years or something. Dear friends. And she used to be leading Eco-Imagination. She used to be leading up advanced manufacturing at one of the departments within the Department of Energy, and now is a partner at Breakthrough Energy Ventures. So Libby, take it away.
Hey everyone.
Anne was our keynote speaker last year. Sorry, Anne was our keynote speaker last year, and she blew the doors off. All right.
Let's not forget that. It's company accolades. But yeah, so happy to be here. Libby Wayman, I'm an investor at Breakthrough Energy Ventures. As Cody mentioned, Breakthrough Energy Ventures has a little bit over $2 billion, and we invest in really game-changing innovations and technologies to address climate change. And new innovation is absolutely necessary to address climate change. We've got a lot of solutions that can do a lot more with more scale, but there are a lot of sources of emissions that really have no solution today, at least no economically viable ones. So we're really committed to innovation in the space, and we recognize that it's not easy. We're just so thrilled to be a part of ASUio. Entrepreneurs like all you guys in this competition, you do more than just be really good at what you do. You see the world and you see how it can be better and how it can change, and then you make that happen, and that's really special. And change doesn't happen without big ideas and without people like you pushing them forward. And we really need more brilliant leaders like all of you envisioning new solutions to address climate change and bring them to life. So we're just so thrilled to be a part of this and so grateful for what you all do. So now we're pleased to announce that the Breakthrough Energy Ventures Award goes to Blip.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. Hello.
Hello. So share a little bit about Blip.
Our goal is to expand access to energy storage. So we're doing that by providing an affordable, accessible, residential smart battery. And at scale, that will also help utilities begin to reduce their reliance on dirty peaker plants and have an attractive demand response solution. We believe that everyone has the right to energy storage. I think it's the future, and it's the key to a stable grid. And we are, to my knowledge, the first folks who are delivering it at this price point by using second life lithium-ion batteries. We're planning to leverage utilities pretty heavily and have had a lot of early conversations with a number of utilities, especially in the New York and California area. So we're planning to do a direct-to-consumer online sale, but we're also planning to do a utility distribution channel. They have the best access to these customers. They know what rate plans they're on. The customer will save the most money if they have a time of use rate plan. So at scale, we're going to have little pockets of energy in every household that pays for itself over time, and I think that'll be a game changer.
She's so excited she disappeared. She might be shoveling. Rumor has it they're in Chicago. And I'm originally from Chicago, so I know that, it's cold there, unlike Arizona.
If the check was coming from anywhere outdoor, we're gonna be here for a little while.
Yeah, they're gonna. And Chicago has this thing where you have to shovel your car out, and then people put structures in place to hold the spot. So there might be some navigating a couch in the street or a chair in the street just to get the check to her.
Now I feel extra evil that I told everybody that it was 71 degrees here.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, they're getting a ton of cash. I don't think they care about the cold. They're gonna be fine. Well, I think it's time right now to just remember all of the amazing awards that went out, all of the amazing innovation that is around the globe, and get really, really excited for our next prize, which is not happening right now.
Not quite yet.
Yeah, it's about to happen, because we're actually going to see the winner. So this is real.
Indeed.
Here,
there she is.
Whoop. Congratulations.
Hello, thank you so much. I had to run all the way out of my apartment. This is huge. Thank you so much.
It is huge. Literally, that is a huge check. Yeah.
It is a massive check.
Yeah. So are you going to use that check for White Sox or Cubs tickets?
Oh man, don't. That's a contentious question.
No, but for real, how is the prize money going to be leveraged for the future of this company?
Absolutely. This is huge for us. So we are mid fundraising right now to kick off with our, similar to Optical Waters, to kick off with an engineering services firm actually to get these developed into a mass manufacturable prototype beyond what we can sort of build together ourselves in a lab, so that we can get those certified and kick off with some pilots with utility partners. So this is massive for us. So appreciative. Cannot express my gratitude enough.
Congratulations, you deserve it. Now take my car battery and help me keep my house cool this summer.
Yeah, we'll do our best.
Thank you very much. All right, last prize. This time it's for real.
Congratulations. Yes. Moving into our final award. This is the Avnet IoT Award. And let me start by saying, without Avnet, this program likely would have never gotten off the ground. They have been a key partner in this entire process. They have offered $100,000 in prizes every single year for the last 5 years. It's a big deal.
That's a lot of money.
Think of all the prototypes and company advancements that has happened because of Avnet's contributions. We really appreciate their commitment. Avnet's CEO, Phil Gallagher, and Dana Badhorn, Global Vice President of Strategic Planning and Corporate Marketing, are here to announce their winner.
All right, well, thank you very much here from, you're right, the sunny Scottsdale, Arizona with Dana Badhorn. What a great way to end the week. I got to tell you, the energy and it's amazing from these different innovators. But again, I'm Phil Gallagher. I'm the CEO for Avnet. We're based here in the Valley. We're in the technology solutions, center technology solution, we like to say, in semiconductors and interconnect passive products and helping engineers and OEMs around the world, servicing over 140 countries. But it's really just my honor to on behalf of Avnet, you recognize the creativity and the talent. And I'll tell you, I got to feel really good about this next generation of what's to come. Again, it's amazing what I just watched here the last 45 minutes or so. And being with Avnet for 40 years of our 100-year anniversary, which is this year, we've been around since 1921. I feel really good that the future is really bright. And I'll be checking out the Blip Energy for my air conditioning here at home, and looking to get my water better purified with optical waters and all the stuff we just saw and witnessed. But it's really exciting, the last 30 semifinalists in the world of technology. And you can bet Avnet's going to be right there with you and helping to bring some of these ideas and your ideas to life. So as this is my first time, I think without further ado, right? We jump right in.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So without further ado, Avnet is proud to give away $100,000 to Flow, a team from Yale University for their IoT solutions. So we look forward to offering our global design services to you as you grow. But congratulations on the award, and I'll turn it back over to you. And thanks for letting us participate, that being Avnet. Okay. Thank you.
Flow is a cost-effective, environmentally friendly, and smart solution to tackle ice dams, which cause devastating damage around the country each winter to residential and commercial buildings. I think outside of that, we're solving a real problem for customers by reducing costs, by reducing the carbon footprint by more than 99%, and reducing liability for workers across the United States and around the globe on a large scale by being all the other competitive products out of the water. And so we've already conducted some extensive testing around the country previously, as well as with MIT and the US Army Corps. And we're now conducting a 50-unit paid pilot around the country this winter with major universities, municipalities, top ski resorts. For a lot of these folks, not just like the city of Rochester, but like Yale University, they're afraid of heating cables for a number of different reasons. They're afraid it'll burn down the buildings. They're afraid of the mess it'll cause, the amount of electricity it uses, the energy consumption. They either have guys get on the roof, or they just basically just ignore the problem until the spring and then fix all the damage as necessary. That's what Yale does for all 400 buildings, and it costs them $1 million on average each year to basically deal with all that resulting damage in the spring. I think outside of that, we also have a real potential for once these sensors are installed to do a lot more. Building envelopes account for more than 10% of the US energy envelope, energy usage. And so providing more actionable data on energy performance and facilities management will really have a profound impact on adjusting US energy consumption and climate change.
Well, congratulations to Flo, and that's pretty amazing. And right now, with the very timeliness, if I watch the middle of the country and a little bit north in the middle, it's pretty darn cold out there, and I got a lot of ice problems. Even Lake Michigan's overflowing with ice. If you saw that on the news, it's causing flooding issues right now. So it's quite interesting. But at that point, I'll turn it back over to Cody and the team. And thanks for letting us participate, and all the best of luck. And to Flo, we're here to help you design your IoT end-to-end solution. So give us a call.
Yeah, Phil and Dana, I wanted to personally thank both of you guys for the support over the years in this competition. You know, we've been building this thing to be an ever bigger footprint, an ever bigger spotlight on innovation, and so really have enjoyed Avnet's engagement in the program, and welcome aboard Avnet, Phil. I know you're relatively new to the C-suite, and it's cool to have you on board. So
thanks. Yeah, 2 months. Thanks.
So I assume you have your hands fully around the entire organization by this point.
Thanks a lot, Cody. We appreciate it. All right.
All right, well, while we wait for the journey to your check, which we're learning can be all kinds of different lengths, we're gonna go ahead and start sharing a few closing remarks as we transition into the breakout portion of our event. And when we find that a check has found its owner, we will go back and visit with our winning entrepreneurs. But a huge thank you to everyone who has participated in this event today and everything leading up to that. Of course, the entrepreneurs, the students working so hard to change the world, faculty members, family members, friends, spouses, everybody who's contributing and helping them move along this path that they're on, our sponsors and our judges who've spent time getting us where we are today. I see a thumbs up. That might mean that a check has made its way to its founder. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you so much.
Ooh.
We're
your check
super excited about all of this. We really appreciate it.
Is your check a part of the Zoom back?
Congratulations.
Definitely a very large check.
Exciting. What do you think you're going to spend it on? What's in the shopping cart?
Yeah, we're currently running a pilot this winter for our product around the country. And so we're hoping to finalize the pilot, do some accelerated life testing, and then move to production as fast as possible.
That's really cool. Where's that pilot going on?
Accelerate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a pilot across the country from Utah and Park City to Aspen to up in Maine. So really in more than 10 states around the country.
That's fantastic. We're excited to see your product in the market.
Thank you. We're excited to get there.
Congratulations and good luck with those next steps. Can't wait to hear more.
Thank you.
Good job, David.
All right, so we got to see some pretty incredible teams highlighted here as our award winners today. As you know, there were many other teams that we didn't get to see today, but this decision process, I speak on behalf of all the judges, this decision process is so incredibly difficult. There are so many well-deserving entrepreneurs and incredible potential life-changing products and companies being built. And there's an opportunity in just a few minutes for you to break off and get to speak to all of these entrepreneurs and learn more about them. Where I sit, it's a really fun journey to get to meet these entrepreneurs as they're going through this process and hear about everything that they're working on. So I hope you get to do that as well. At this time, we get to announce a really exciting partnership. This morning, we just found out that we will have a partnership with Entrepreneurship Magazine. And in our next season of the ASUio, they will select a few teams to be on the elevator pitch. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It's been viewed by over 150 million viewers. So we'll have more to share very soon. The breakout rooms and the conversations I was referencing will be at asu.io/Zoom. and you'll be redirected to a list of breakout rooms. You just click right on the one you want to enter and who you want to chat with, and you can have some of those conversations. Anybody's mom watching today? Any shout outs we need to make? I know I would like to say hi to Mr. Todd Davis, the founder of LifeLock, who's in the audience today. Anybody else? Are your kids watching?
I hope so.
They should be.
Yeah,
There's a lot
if
to
they're
learn.
not, they failed me.
Yeah.
There's a lot to learn.
So much to learn. And Sean Pate from Zenny, who will be joining us in next year's competition, our 6th annual. And with that, thank you so much for joining us today. This is an incredible journey for us, for you, for these entrepreneurs, and head on over to those breakout rooms and start some of those conversations. Thank you.
Well done.
Nice job, Sydney, Tristan. Nice job.
Cody, nice to meet you. Thanks for the kind words. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Phil.